As you listen to these words, as I'm speaking, are you at work right now? Are you grafting? Are you laying bricks, filing papers, banking, coding, stitching or stacking? That's the question. Are you working at this very moment in time? Even the Bromley audience, I should add, have doubtlessly lifted a finger at some point today. So there it is. But the killer question is this, one that leads us to all relatively new territory, if you think about it. Are you working, but from home? Now, as I just said to Julia, can you imagine how just crazy that question would have been just a few years ago? It would have been absolutely bonkers. Folk would point and stare. See that fella over there? He's a bank manager with Barclays. Where does he work? Local branch? London? Manchester? No, on his settee. What? Hey, what? Yes. He's a good lad, Mick. Does a full 40 hours on the sofa. He's even got an L-shaped one so he can put his feet up during the tea breaks. That's where we're at. That's where we are at. So Keir Starmer has backed more working from home after Number 10 warned that, and I can't get my head around this phrase, Number 10 has warned that a culture of presenteeism is bad for productivity. So a culture of turning up for work is bad for productivity. The Prime Minister's spokesman suggested plans to introduce a new right to switch off should mean that staff have to spend less time in the office. Downing Street said the plans were part of a wider push to improve Britain's low productivity levels and prevent workers from burning out. Asked about the proposed right to switch off reforms, Sir Keir's spokesman said the focus behind that is on improving productivity. We had a look at some of the government jobs that are available. And most of them, if you look, these are civil servant jobs. Most of them require you to be in the office between 40 and 60% of the time. So you only got to go to work 40% of the time. 40% of the time, you've only got to go into work. Now, here's the thing, and this is where I'm going to sort of swallow slightly my incredulity. I'm going to ask this question. How does the country benefit from more people working from home? 0344 499 1000. Now, I can give you all the reasons why I think going into work. I've got a lot of, as time has gone on. And by the way, where I slightly question some of the details here, this whole working from home thing only really got underway during lockdown. So that was only a couple of years ago, right? I mean, the idea that they've realised that the entire human race is more productive sitting on a sofa or at the kitchen table based on what would, by any measure, it's a sort of survey you'd have to do over a decade or more, I would imagine. So it's all rather swift that this has come around. I can give you the reasons why I think going into work is a good thing. I think going into work is great. I say this every time we talk about this subject because it comes up from time to time. I work with a great team of people who are with us now, in the studio. Everybody, that we work alongside here at Talk, whether they're from other shows, we all pretty much rub along really well. I mean, this is I'm gifted. It's a great place to work and it's a great team of people. I mean, there's a few undesirables on the bench, on the team sheet. I mean, but, generally speaking, just put Amy aside for 1 second. She knew it was coming. It was, generally speaking, this is not... Well, one of the reasons I like coming into work is because of the people I work with. And that's a great thing. And whether it's on this particular floor, we work in an incredibly big building, one of the biggest news centres in the world, and it's an amazing place to be. And I think coming into a job that you like, with people that you like, in an atmosphere that you like, is actually makes you more productive. I think I would be less productive if I was sitting at home right now in a home studio, which I've done, as Julia was saying she did during lockdown as well. It's a bit weird being in that home studio environment. It's completely doable, but it's just weird. It doesn't feel like you're really doing the job. Now, I know not everybody will share the same sentiment towards their own job. So I know that would be seen by some as a kind of it's an interesting point, but it's not a deal breaker. And I know that going into work sounds there's some, you just know there's going to be generations of coming up, the next generation. Those who are about 13, 14 now, by the time they get to 18, they will probably have no recognition that there is such a thing as going into work every day. It'll be a completely alien concept. The idea that you would go to work every day. I'm intrigued by whether my argument is actually an irrational one, that actually there are no good reasons for going into work. I mean, other than, you know, you meet some people, it's nice, it's fun, it's great, but it doesn't make you more productive, and that's the point, isn't it? I do question whether the civil service, where en masse we have tens of thousands of people now working from home in really important roles. I can believe they get the job done. I think it probably exposes what was really needed to get the job done. So I think you've got a lot of people probably on full-time hours, but they're doing it from home. I don't know. Is that monitored, by the way? I know some places talk about monitoring computers, but I don't know how widespread that is. But how does the country benefit? Just answer me this. How does the country, bearing in mind, number 10, Downing Street, Keir Starmer, are all talking about productivity being key here. They said the focus behind this is on improving productivity. So how does the country benefit from more people working from home? 0344 499 1000. My guess is that it is at best neutral. So you get the same stuff done, mostly, because if you didn't get it done, somebody would go, look, you haven't done your work. But I think it's quite obvious it doesn't require the hours that people previously thought it did. How does the country benefit from people working from home? 0344 499 1000. Of course, there's a ton of people who could never work from home. If you're in a driving job, construction job, factory-based job, you've got no security guard, you've got no choice. You can't copper, nurse, doctor, you know, you can't work from home. So I'm not sure how that divvies up as a percentage, but certainly it's put us in a very strange position. And again, as I was saying to Julia, can you imagine this conversation 5-6 years ago about working from home? I do remember a guy down the road from us was doing 4 days at work and had a long weekend, and it was completely new, and it was a talking point in the pub. Wow, you only go 4 days? Yes, it's great. It's like having a weekend off. I thought, well, you are still meant to be working. 0344 499 1000. Working from home, do you do it? Be honest, are you more productive because of it? And can you answer that further question, how does the country benefit from more people working from home?